You didn't fall in love with who they are. You fell in love with who they could be. And that belief, that single, quiet belief, became your prison. One of the most painful psychological traps in relationships is this conviction that our love, our patience, or our understanding can somehow fix someone who is emotionally incapable of change. And when that person shows narcissistic traits, the damage, it cuts deeper than most people realize. Because narcissism doesn't look like cruelty at first. It looks like intensity. It feels like confidence. It has this emotional gravity that just pulls you into its orbit. They mirror your dreams back at you. They reflect your hopes. They make you feel truly seen, if only for a moment. And then something shifts. Suddenly, love becomes conditional. Affection becomes a transaction. Your worth, your very sense of self, begins to feel tied to how useful, how forgiving, or how accommodating you can be. In psychology, there's a name for this pattern. It's called intermittent reinforcement, the exact same mechanism that keeps people addicted to gambling. You're not staying because it's good. You're staying because you remember when it was. You keep pulling the lever, hoping for the jackpot of affection you received at the beginning. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You're not trying to fix them because you're naive. You're trying to fix them because your nervous system believes that love is earned through endurance. Many people who become entangled with narcissistic personalities learned early on in life that emotional safety came from adapting, not from being truly met. So when the narcissist withdraws, when they criticize or devalue, something ancient activates deep inside you. You start to think, if I can just explain this better, if I just love them harder, if I can stay calm enough, then they'll see. But narcissism is not a misunderstanding. It is a defense structure. Clinicians describe it as a fragile self-concept protected by a fortress of grandiosity, control, and emotional distance. At its very core is a deep, paralyzing fear of shame, and shame is something they will avoid at all costs. This is why accountability feels like an attack to them. It's why your boundaries feel like a betrayal, and it's why your pain feels profoundly inconvenient. This is the reason conversations always go in circles, why the apologies feel so hollow, why their empathy only seems to appear when it directly benefits them. You're not failing to reach them. They are defending themselves from feeling. And the more you try to fix them, the more you abandon yourself. Because the role you've unknowingly stepped into isn't partner, it's emotional caretaker. And no amount of love can heal someone who refuses to see themselves. The hardest realization isn't that they won't change. It's understanding why you believed they would. Psychology calls this rescue fantasy attachment, the unconscious belief that if you can heal someone else, you'll finally prove your own worth. But narcissistic personalities don't bond through mutual vulnerability. They bond through control, admiration, and emotional leverage. When you express pain, they deflect. When you set boundaries, they minimize. When you pull away, they re-engage, just enough to keep you attached. Not because they love you deeply, but because they fear losing supply. And here is the line most people never cross. You cannot fix someone who doesn't experience their behavior as a problem. You are not dealing with trauma alone. You are dealing with defended identity. This is why healing begins the moment you stop asking, how do I help them change? And start asking, why did I believe it was my responsibility? Healthy love does not require self-erasure. It does not require constant explanation. It does not demand that you shrink your pain to preserve someone else's comfort. The real work is not saving them. It's rescuing the part of you that learned love meant over-functioning. This is called differentiation, the ability to stay emotionally grounded without being consumed by another person's dysfunction. You don't need to convince them. You don't need closure from them. You don't need them to understand. Because clarity is not something they give you. It's something you choose. And the moment you stop trying to fix them, you finally begin to heal yourself.